Hi everybody, it's Rosie from Talking About BPD. I hope everyone's having a good week. I tweeted the other day that I'm having a baby and I'm pregnant. I'm currently in the second trimester. I decided to talk about it online, kind of contrary to what I thought I'd do. I thought I'd just keep it a secret and just keep it private and not discuss it online on Talking About BPD, but I kind of changed my mind because I thought, well, maybe if I share my experiences, it might help some of you if you are pregnant and have BPD, or if you are planning to get pregnant, hoping to get pregnant, thinking about it, or maybe you have a baby or a child. And I just thought, why not? It's part of my life, it's part of my experience, it's going to be a huge thing for me. It is a huge thing for me, so I thought, why not? Let me just talk about it. I definitely want to tell you about how I've been feeling and how that's changed over the weeks of my pregnancy so far. I also wanted to talk to you about my interactions with maternity services and antenatal care, which has been mixed. And also I wanted to talk with you about what it's like being under mental health services, pregnancy specific, so perinatal mental health services, because I thought that might be something that you are interested in, because if you have a diagnosis of BPD or something similar, or identify with BPD, then chances are you may be under mental health services, or you may be trying to be under their care, possibly. How have I been feeling so far? Well, emotionally, I've been feeling happy and excited. I have had anxiety as well, because pregnancy is full of changes, unknowns, uncertainties, and that brings with it some challenges, of course. But on the whole, I've just been really happy, overjoyed, I'm delighted. I just wanted this baby, so I'm just really, really, over the moon to be having this baby. The main other thing that I've been feeling is sick. I've had pregnancy related nausea for about 12 weeks now, maybe more, and although it has got better, it is still quite draining and quite difficult at times. I do feel on some level that having BPD is really helping me with this pregnancy, because let's face it, I have, faced head on quite a number of challenges over the years, even daily challenges, and I think that there is a certain level of strength that comes with having a condition like BPD, because you know how much you've survived to get to this point, and I've learned so much that I kind of feel like pregnancy has had its difficult moments, but nothing compared to how difficult it is with BPD. Back in the day when I didn't have the care that I needed, or I didn't understand what was happening to me, or I didn't have a clue why I was getting these emotional kind of storms coming over me. So I do think with everything that I've been through, pregnancy it hasn't been easy, but compared to all of that, it has been an absolute walk in the park. I know I am only halfway through, and I don't want to say it has been easy, because it hasn't. Feeling sick every single day for 12-13 weeks relentlessly takes its toll. It's really, really unpleasant. However, touch wood, apart from that, everything else has been okay. Tiredness, yes, has been a feature, especially in the early weeks. I would just fall asleep at any possible moment because I was just feeling so tired. It was kind of like every single bit of my energy in my body was just going to growing this baby, even though it was just absolutely tiny. It was like all my energy was just being kind of centered on that growing process. So I have been grateful to have help from my husband things like cooking, cleaning, and honestly, without him helping me, that definitely would have been really, really difficult. I think I would have been needing to eat ready meals, takeaways, things like that, because I just, got home from work after a fast-paced job, busy day, and I would just need to crash on the sofa, and the nausea would just come in a massive wave at that point as well. Even worse than kind of throughout the day. So yeah, that's been mostly it. I mean, being pregnant, getting pregnant and finding out I was pregnant, it wasn't a massive surprise to me, because when I did the pregnancy test, it was kind of confirming what I already knew. I had guessed I was pregnant. I was pretty much certain I was pregnant. I was having every single symptom under the sun. So when I took the pregnancy test, it was kind of like I kind of knew it. So I didn't have this moment of huge kind of excitement, because I'd kind of been having this slow realization over the last like couple of weeks that this was it, and I just knew it. Yeah, so that's interesting, because normally you hear about this, doing the pregnancy test and then having all these emotions that follow it. But for me, it was just a slow build up, and kind of the emotions had come over the last 2 weeks before doing that test. Yeah, what else can I say? Yeah, in the early weeks, I definitely had a huge amount of anxiety. The anxiety was definitely about pregnancy loss, because I'd been aware of the statistics. I know that pregnancy loss is quite common actually in the first few weeks of pregnancy, and I'd read about it online, and also back in October 2021, I had been pregnant as well, but that one hadn't lasted. So I'd had a pregnancy loss myself in the early weeks, which was naturally really upsetting for me and pretty painful mentally and physically. But I got through that, I came through that, and I think it made me even more excited to be pregnant again. But also at the same time, it made me even more nervous, because I could remember in graphic detail exactly what had happened in October, and it kind of made me worry more. So I really had to distract myself. I bought puzzle books, I tried to do quizzes, crosswords, everything that I could do, so that whenever I had a moment of free time, like after work, that I wasn't spending every single waking hour thinking, will this pregnancy last? Will this pregnancy not last? And it was just quite a stressful few weeks. Yeah, I think once I got through those few weeks, things got a lot easier. And my husband and I, we were lucky enough, we could go private, pay for an early scan. And in that early scan, we could confirm that there was a heartbeat there for the baby, which was just a moment of like absolute relief to me, especially after having the pregnancy loss before. Just to see this tiny little thing, and to see the heartbeat flickering on the screen, that for me was just like a moment of pure relief. That it looked okay. It looked like it could carry on and it could go forwards, and that didn't take away my anxiety completely, but it did kind of give me some solace for a few weeks, because my NHS scan wasn't due until around 13 weeks. Luckily I got it brought forward a little bit, because they're supposed to be before 12 weeks, so in the end they were quite flexible with me, which was good. One thing that I got really, really, really nervous about was telling my work that I'm pregnant. I had really worked myself into a tears about this, and when to do it, how to do it, who to do it to, every single kind of social faux pas, kind of like social anxiety just came to the forefront of my mind. And one weekend I was just so nervous about it. I couldn't relax, I could barely sleep, I was just so stressed. I decided to write it in an email, because I thought, if I have to do this in person, I'm just not going to cope. I just need that accommodation for myself. I just need that adaptation. Some people can do these things face to face. Some people just find it so anxiety inducing. So resorting to email was definitely the way forward for me. Yeah, I also got really anxious about telling my family, not because, you know, I thought they were going to be unhappy, quite the opposite. I thought they were going to be overjoyed, but I just get a lot of build up and anticipation around telling people things that are quite big. So I am feeling generally a lot more relaxed now. I have done those things. Like, I've done my first couple of scans. Like, I've, you know, told my work. I've told, you know, my friends. I've told my family, and I just feel more at peace now. I've done the kind of social aspect, because I definitely find those social interactions really, really nerve-wracking. But yeah, when I told my work, they were really lovely about it. They were really supportive. So when my husband and I decided that we wanted to have a baby, we were able to have this thing called Preconception Appointment with the mental health team. This was something that my old psychiatrist had referred me to. So I was able to meet with the doctor there with my husband. I have to say, I hated my preconception appointment. I thought it was the most impersonal, robotic thing ever. And I felt like the psychiatrist was just only interested in talking about medication, which for me is not the be-all and end-all of psychiatry. For some people, medication is so important. It's kind of everything. For some people, it's not. And I just think that this psychiatrist was kind of going medication, 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 and it wasn't holistic enough for me. And I actually felt just really weirded out sitting in front of her with my husband, talking about a really big thing for us, a really super emotional decision, kind of a big thing, and just feeling like a robot was talking to us. I don't mean disrespect to the psychiatrist, that must just be her style, but it just felt really, really cold, and it just kind of made me not want to engage with the service. However, she did say, when you get pregnant, re-refer, and you know, there'll be more appointments, there are kind of more packages of support that you can be offered. So, you know, I decided to be open-minded, and when I got pregnant, I did re-refer, and I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, we had our first pregnancy appointment with the psychiatrist, and luckily she was a lot more kind of a little bit warmer, and it was a bit more holistic, and yeah, it was quite interesting to see the kind of things that they offer to pregnant people and people who've just had babies as well. So they said that they would do a review every 6 weeks approximately, and this would also include reviews and support after the baby is born by a practitioner, so maybe therapist or psychologist or somebody. So I think it's reassuring in some way to know that I do have access to these people who can help, or hopefully can help, if anything were to deteriorate with me. I've been really stable. I have had a few panic attacks. I have been emotional. I have still been me, but it has been really manageable. You know, which is amazing. And to be honest, I wasn't that worried about pregnancy affecting my mood. I was actually quite confident about it. Yeah, I think I don't know, I'm just quite self-assured about having a baby. Maybe it's my job because I'm a teacher, maybe it's, I don't know, just my life history to date, I don't know, but I probably worried more that other people would doubt me, that other people would think that I'm like mentally unstable, and because of that I can't look after a baby, or I can't have a healthy pregnancy. I do think that, say about 4 years ago, the stigma had hit me really badly, and I was really fearful of people judging me about having children in the future. I think, you know, people who know me well know what I'm like. They know I'm very emotional. They know I'm very sensitive. but that's no reason why I can't have a baby. That was never going to stop me anyway. And I don't know, one of the reasons why I'm making this video and why I'm talking about my pregnancy is because I do want to share some kind of a story of hope, because you know, there's not that much out there about BPD and pregnancy or parents. Generally, we know BPD is very, very stigmatized, and I don't want people to be kind of newly diagnosed and thinking that their future is over and that their dreams of having a wonderful family life are over, because they're really not. Of course, it has taken me a long time to get to this position where I am, like, life is calm, life is happy, life is stable. It has taken me a long time. You know, it's been 8 years since I was first diagnosed, and there have been a lot of downs in that time, a lot of crises in that time, as you know if you've been watching my channel or reading my blog or have read my book. It hasn't been easy, and sometimes it is quite overwhelming when I look back to kind of 6-7 years ago or even 5 years ago, and I think the state of my life was so different to how it is today. And I am, like, it's very emotional to think about how I've got into this place now where I'm having a baby, I've got my husband, I've got my home, I've got my job. Yeah, I still have panics. Yeah, I still have really emotional times. Yes, I still have terror about upsetting other people. I can still get very distressed. All of these things do still happen, but I'm just able to cope now, and that is the difference. So yeah, I don't know, I'm just kind of trying to articulate some of my thoughts, really. How has my maternity care been so far? Well, it's been mixed. You know, I can't complain. I'm living in a country with really good healthcare, and you know, it's been great to have the scans, great to have all the checks and all of the blood tests. I would say my booking appointment, which is kind of this long appointment where they take your history and go through loads and loads of questions about yourself and your family. It was very robotic. It was colder than I would have liked it to be. I just think maybe people in the NHS now are just swept off their feet and they're just doing a job. But it was kind of like tapping on the computer without barely looking at me, just kind of almost felt like a robotic exercise, and it just felt a bit weird to me, because pregnancy is a very emotional thing, and you are at least I am connected to my baby, and yeah, it just felt a bit weird and a bit underwhelming. So yeah, but because I'm under the perinatal mental health team, they've been able to, like, join up to the maternity team. So I get a named midwife, which is what everyone used to have in the past, actually, but nowadays most people have a midwife that changes every single appointment that they have. Whereas because I'm under the perinatal mental health team, that means that I've been able to access a named midwife who will be the consistent midwife for me for every appointment until the birth of the baby. And the reason for that is she's more in the know about so-called, like, vulnerable people, because if you have a serious mental health condition like BPD or probably bipolar, I'm not sure the exact criteria, but there are specialist midwives who are joined up to the perinatal mental health team. So that has been a reassurance to me, and I'm quite grateful for that. I haven't actually met midwife yet, so I'm due to meet her in a few weeks, which will be nice. And yeah, she's got a specific phone number, a specific mobile. You can even text her, so that's helpful. One of the hardest things to deal with has been regarding one of my blood tests, which came back and it said I have this low pregnancy associated plasma protein. It's known as low PAP-A, and this really panicked me, And it wasn't really helpful that the midwife kept saying, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. She kept telling me this over and over again, don't worry. And obviously I was worried because she told me that having this low pregnancy associated plasma protein means that there's a higher risk of having a small baby or a premature baby, or problems with the placenta and things like that. So I need to get extra scans and extra checks that the baby is growing fine, which honestly scared the living daylights out of me. It really panicked me. I had nearly a whole week of being really devastated and panicked about this, and it just wasn't helped by the lack of information. I kept asking the midwife for kind of more information about this. What are the chances that there'll be a problem? And she said she couldn't tell me the chances, which I just found really strange. She just kept saying, most people are fine, most babies are fine, most babies are fine. That's what she just kept telling me, like, most babies are fine. But for me, I wanted to know what most actually meant. Was that 55%? Was that 95%? I don't know. So anyway, I did keep calling back to try and get information, to the point that the midwife clearly had nothing else to say to me. And then she said, oh, you sound really anxious. Maybe I can refer you. And I knew exactly what she meant. I said, I've already been referred. I'm under the perinatal mental health team. And she was like, oh. And then at that point, I thought, oh gosh, here we go. I'm going to get branded, So the conversation did turn a little bit sour. I wasn't too happy with that because I felt as if I was being kind of palmed off to psychiatry, when actually what I wanted was answers about the physical health. So yeah, that was really unpleasant, and I do feel like stigma probably played into that. I can't be sure, but I do feel like I got dismissed. I do think my anxiety at that point was entirely natural. I think if you're told you're at risk of something, you want to know how much. I kind of need to know, because then I need to know how much to worry. So yeah, I found this really, really difficult. I think as time's gone by, I've been able to relax a little bit more. I'm trying to live in the moment. As everyone keeps telling me, pregnancy is full of unknowns. It is an uncertain time. You never know what's going to happen. You hope for the best, but you have to take each day as it comes, which is really hard for me because I am the most controlling. I want control in my life, and there's no such thing, and especially when you're pregnant. So yeah, it's been hard to let go of that. But I suppose it's just about focusing on the things I can control. Trying to manage the nausea, which has just been awful. And yeah, focusing on the positives, I suppose. Yeah. So anyway, I think I'm coming to the end now of my pregnancy video. I hope it's been helpful. Of course, every single person with BPD is totally different. Every pregnancy is totally different. Every person with BPD who is pregnant will feel entirely different. So yeah, probably my experience may not mirror yours, but if it does, or if it doesn't, just let me know in the comments, because I'm really intrigued. And yeah, I'll probably give you another update soon. Another thing to add, if this has been difficult for you to watch, hopefully you've turned it off and hopefully you're not watching. But if it is difficult, I can relate, because, in the few years up to becoming pregnant, I was very, very envious of other people who had babies. I, really had baby envy. I had pregnancy envy. I just desperately wanted it, and I knew that the time wasn't right for me and I had to wait. So yeah, if it's been hard for you to watch, I have been in a position where it was hard, and I also know that I'm lucky in that, yeah, I did have a pregnancy loss, but it has been pretty easy for me to get pregnant, and I know some people it's not easy, and that must be excruciatingly difficult. So yeah, I'm sending empathy to you if that is the case for you, because it just must be unimaginably difficult. unimaginably difficult. And yeah, I hope you're all having a good week. Thank you for watching. Bye.